You know, when I first started shopping for trucks back in 2014, I went to Chevy, I went to Ford. Didn't really see anything that just, anything that I really just said, man, I gotta have that truck. I went over to Ram and I saw this 2500 4x4 sitting on the lot, Laramie, pretty well loaded. Boy, it just looked good, right off the bat. So I wanted to look at it more. Got inside, salesman got in with me, and he's giving me the pitch and stuff. And we're looking at the panel, and man, when I saw this panel with all of this information on it, I was just, really amazed, And he saw me staring at it, and he said, "Well, that's probably not the panel you like." He was like, well, you probably don't like the truck because you don't like all that stuff on the panel, He said, "This is the one you're probably going to want to look at." And I said, "No way, man. This is my panel right here, And I just love this panel. This panel has just about everything that you could want on a truck. If I had to make any changes to it, I would add exhaust gas temperature up there in one of those redundant gauges up there where we got coolant temperature. We really got it twice. We got it in digital mode and we got it in analog gauge too, and the same thing with oil pressure. So we could turn that into, say boost and something else, Exhaust gas temperature would be my favorite. But anyway, this gauge is perfect. I mean, it's got the DEF fluid gauge, which the Chevys didn't have. They'd come on with like 1,000 miles. In 1,000 miles, you're going to go into limp mode, that sort of thing. You had to fill it from raising the hood. So I wasn't crazy about that. But, it wasn't a deal breaker, but at the time, because it was the first truck that I had that had DEF anyway. But this gauge is invaluable, Gauges are invaluable. The more information you can get on your truck, the better off you are, while you're driving, especially while you're towing. You want to. That's what I love about this particular panel right here. It tells me almost everything I want to know, and I could care less about whether I'm exactly on 50 or 51 or 65. I'm up-alling along right now, trying to talk and drive at the same time, which is a challenge for me nowadays. But you got the other gauges here too, the satellite channel. You got your towing information here, which is I've got 12,000 of my miles is towing miles, and that's kind of handy. Of course, you got two of your trip meters, 2 trip meters. They've got the average mile per gallon on it, average mile per hour, all that kind of good stuff. So, that's pretty typical, but it's handy. And then you got your single gauge with your mile per gallon. But you can consolidate all of those gauges into one gauge, And then going the other way, you've got idle time, driving time, and total time, tire pressure, transmission temperature, oil life, fuel filter life, volts, and exhaust turbo information, and then back to your gauge here. But what I want to do is show you something that I've found out, and it's kind of embarrassing because I had this truck for a while before I realized I could do this. And that's customize this one gauge right here, this one view. And it's so handy. And I'm going to show you right now what I do to do that, or how you do it. And you can set it up just any way you want to, depending on your preference. Okay, so it's got to be in park to set it up, so I had to turn it off. And so there's our my favorite gauge. And but let me just show you what I like so much about it. And this is the default setting. In other words, you've got your average mile per gallon down in the bottom right. You've got over in the bottom left, you've got your range. You've got your outside temperature in the top right and the compass over in the left. And of course, you know, these other things here, coolant temp, trans temp, oil temperature, oil pressure, that's just invaluable when towing. So you got to get to this panel right here to get into the inner. And this is what is really cool to me. You get to this view right here. And what we're going to do is add 2 gauges. I'm going to add, I'm not going to change the lower right. As you can see, you can change just about anything you want on this thing. But we're going to get to, see where it says lower gauge? Let's put our boost right there. So the way we do that, you see it says none right here. So we're going to come over here and now we're going to cycle through and we're going to find boost. You can hear me clicking. There's turbo boost. Okay, so just hit the thing one more time. Notice that little gauge popped up right there. Isn't that something? I didn't know that, you know, up until I had the truck a while. And in the upper gauge, you can add another one. That one has none either. So let's add, just fooling around, let's just add exhaust brake. Okay, so now, look at our panel now, how nice that is. Now let's say that you didn't want to look at your, oh, I don't know, your temperature. Let's change our temperature. That would be the upper right. It's set on outside temperature. We can change that over to anything we want. You know, we could change it to right there, trailer brake, gain, our trip meter if we want to put trip A or trip B, current mile per gallon, range to empty. We can, you see, we can move all that around. We could put the time there. Let's just put the time just for the hell of it. And the good thing about it is there's a one of these settings is restore default setting, restore defaults right there. So you can hit that and go pretty much back to the way the truck was originally. But now this is going to be the lower right, and it's got average mile per gallon on it. So let's just, I think you get the idea by now. But anyway, let's just change that to, let's put outside temperature there because we moved it around a while ago. So there you go. You got to hit the left arrow to get out of it. Okay, so let's go back to our, let's see, where's my favorite gauge? Boy, so look at it now. So let's go for a ride. Look how cool that is. So you see we customized it. Now this is not really the way I would probably do it, but you know, this is an example. Like I say, I wish Ram would have gave us the opportunity to look at the, I'm about to go off-road here. I wish Ram gave us the opportunity to look at the exhaust gas temperature. But anyway, I gotta watch this little town because this is one of these little towns where the police, the popo, like to write tickets. Let me put my AC back on. So watch my boost now. My boost is down at the bottom, and that's really handy when you're in the mountains. And in my last video, I talked about shifting and trying to shift your truck down a gear before it does it on its own, so that you don't load that transmission with all that torque when you're pulling up a hill and everything's maxed out. Well, watching your boost is a good way to know when you're getting ready to shift. At least I've found that in the mountains. You kind of get the hang of it. But watch our boost right here. You see it coming up right there. And I think that's pretty cool. So, and then exhaust brake, same thing. Although I don't have it on, now I have it on. Well, let's see if we can get some exhaust brake. I'm gonna go to tow mode just because tow mode is more aggressive as far as the exhaust braking goes. Yeah, there you go. So you see the exhaust brake down at the bottom of the gauge. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, that's the main thing I wanted to show you guys. Is just the fact that you can customize this gauge here. As much information is already there, you can actually get more. I mean, this is a hell of a lot of information here, guys. And I didn't see anything like that on the Chevy or Ford panels. Maybe they have them now, but in 2014, it wasn't even close. Boy, it's hard for an old man to drive and talk at the same time. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you get something out of that. I don't know, you know, for those, most of you probably knew this. I'm probably like, you know, this is a big revelation to me, but it was when I found out I could do this, and it's been a big help when I'm on long trips and stuff, pulling my travel trailer. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, adios.